Ajay Devgn star Maidaan, a soccer-themed film that is based on a true story. Set between 1952 to 1962, the golden era of Indian soccer, the film follows the story of an unknown hero who created history and records for India that have not been surpassed even 60 years later. Syed Abdul Rahim, also known as Rahim Saab, was a former footballer, coach and manager of the India national team. In 1950, Rahim became a coach of the Indian football team, which enjoyed a great deal of success under his guidance. He is considered to be the architect of modern Indian football. It was the golden age of football in India during his tenure as a coach, who was also a good motivator. India went on to win gold in the Asian Games held in 1951, Delhi, and in 1962, Jakarta. The Indian team preferred to play barefoot back then, and boots were never considered a necessity. After a crushing defeat at the Helsinki Olympics in 1952 due to the bitter cold, Syed fought back with a vengeance. It was the team's last game without their boots. After the previous defeat, Syed improved as a coach and prepared his team to win several international tournaments in the following years. The team even got to play the semi-finals of Summer Olympics in 1956 at Melbourne. India became the first ever Asian country to achieve this feat under the stewardship of Syed Abdul Rahim. It was India's second Asian Games gold in Jakarta 1962 that elevated Rahim to the status of a legendary soccer guru, the finest the country has ever seen. India began their group engagements with a 2-0 defeat to South Korea, but then comprehensively beat Thailand and Japan to set up a semi-final against South Vietnam. After winning 3-2, they came up against the Koreans again in the final, but this time pitted against hostile conditions that saw Indians being hated, abused and even attacked on a few occasions by the local population in Jakarta. The crowd was enraged against India, and they even pelted stones at the team bus, and when India played the final against South Korea, the entire crowd booed Indian team. Rahim pulled off a coup of sorts to plot India's unbelievable triumph. Yet, even to this day, few people realize the memorable 5-match journey in Jakarta that culminated with the 2-1 victory over South Korea in the final on 4th September was truly the curtain call in the life of the fabled coach, who lived only 9 months thereafter. Mentally, he was the happiest man on earth for what he could achieve for Indian football. Physically, he was in unbearable pain as the dreaded lung cancer had already set in his body. The Asian Games over, the Indian team returned from Jakarta with a gold medal and a highly indisposed coach. Rahim, a chain smoker, was alarmingly ill when he landed in Kolkata after a couple of exhibition matches in Singapore on the way back. He knew his health had broken down, but he didn't let anyone know. Rahim's health was failing. He would wake up in the middle of the night coughing violently. His whole body would ache to the extent that it would cripple him for days. But nothing could shift his focus. While the football fraternity rejoiced in the triumph of Jakarta, Rahim was quick to point out the drawbacks that could be faced in near future. In an interview with PTI on 11 September, Rahim said that he was not happy with the execution of his schemes by the team in Jakarta. He said that the team was coached under a new system of play. The team adopted different tactics while playing with different teams, but with more time, the result would have been even better. At the same time, Rahim warned that this was no time for complacency. The Indian team had to play against teams trained and coached under planned schemes years ahead. Asian countries, particularly South Vietnam and Japan, had adopted the Western style of soccer and had already started training national teams for the Tokyo Olympics. India should not lag behind, he suggested. Rahim's health deteriorated rapidly. A local doctor was consulted, who suspected pleurisy. The medicines he prescribed did not help at all, and his condition went from bad to worse. Finally, the doctor said it could be cancer of the lungs. Rahim's sons took him to the famous Tata Hospital in Mumbai. Extensive checkups confirmed that the doctor in Hyderabad was right. But nothing could really be done about it. He remained mostly bedridden in the last 6 months of his life. Mentally, he was the happiest man on earth for what he could achieve for Indian football. Physically, he was in unbearable pain as the dreaded lung cancer had already set in his body.